Morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the stream. This is day 3 of ProtoPlay. It's actually our last day, so make sure you are here to check out all the games and all the teams. Well done to everyone who has been live for the interview already, and I'm looking forward to the games today. And just to run you guys through the schedule, let's see who we got on. We got Roksalt up first, then we got Grim Titan Studios, Celtic Dragon Studio, Monkey Hat Games, Feather School Studios, Cosmic Key, Bunny Box Games, Creative Force, and Wall Jumpers. And throughout the stream, make sure to check out all the socials. Panels below the stream will take you to the desired destination. Many of you know the drill, just a reminder. And use the hashtag ProtoPlay on any social media to give exposure to the amazing developers and their projects. And yeah, let's get started with Roksalt and see what they got in store for us. Let's go. Hello.
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 Hi there. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad, thank you. It's the first time I've woken this early in ages, but I'm okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing, thank you. It's a great morning.
Good.
It's nice and sunny outside. And yeah, so introduce yourself, guys. Yeah, guys, we're getting a treat today. We're getting two developers, two developers to chat to. Even more insight for us. So yeah, just introduce yourselves and roughly about your game and maybe what genre you're trying to get into with this project.
Right, so we're Roksalt, a small independent studio from North Wales. The game we're designing is a Destruction Line. It's a 2 to 4 player, where we're calling it a work simulation beat 'em up party game. So the premise of the game is you need to do environmental tasks whilst avoiding environmental hazards, whilst fighting enemies at the same time, essentially. We designed the game around trying to target multiple audiences, so people that like single-player games and PvP games as well. Because for myself, I like going around killing people, stuff like that in video games, and so things like Overcooked and say Gang Beasts and stuff like that. And we took inspiration from certain elements of that game and then implemented them into ourselves, whilst creating our own unique twist on every single aspect of it.
I see. Cool. Awesome. What aspect of the game are you most happy about with what you managed to achieve in the amount of time you've had to develop the game?
Honestly, the fact that it's multiplayer online. So originally when we designed the game, we designed it, as I said, as a couch co-op game. That with the coronavirus and stuff like that. Everything got switched around, like literally everything. So we were trying to think of like, how can we showcase this game? How can we get this game out to the public and allow them to play it with their friends and stuff like that? So the first thing we did was just completely make the game from the ground up. As soon as lockdown happened, essentially, and we made it so that you're able to play across the board, so that we could play test it, because that was a big issue with our game, because it's obviously based around multiplayer and stuff like that. The only way we could test it is if we did this, but it was something that we hadn't learned before. We did nothing on it, so everything was brand new to us. Like it took forever to get everything working. And like squish all the bugs, and just everything. It was so difficult, and for the past few months, that's all we've been doing, is trying to get this multiplayer working, trying to get the latency down, and etc. It's been but it's done.
Yeah, great job. The project is looking very good. We got a question in the chat. How much Gang Beasts did you play to get the feel of the controlled chaos down?
I've never played Gang Beasts.
Really?
I've never played Gang Beasts.
I feel like that's something a lot of people could say you maybe took inspiration from. But it's interesting that you took your own approach to it.
Yeah, so like I said, when we originally designed it, we didn't really take any inspiration from the game. The only thing we wanted to do was like a Death Run sort of game, so like the mod Death Run, and then eventually like the game just kind of developed, and then once we seen what we had, then we looked at games that were similar to our game, and then we were like, oh, this is like this, and then this is like this, and then we could use like the best elements of them, and like I said, put our own unique twist on it and stuff like that.
I see. Cool, cool. Could we maybe have Joe talk us through how was it to program all of the chaos we are seeing on the screen? What was the most challenging part of that, perhaps?
Well, the most difficult part, I'd say, was actually getting everything to show and work correctly over online multiplayer, because, as Conor previously mentioned, we had a working couch co-op build of this game, and everything worked perfect because it was all a different way of coding, essentially. But once we started to work out and understand how multiplayer worked, we tried implementing the things we used before, and nothing was working the same. It was quite a challenge to get it to where it was today. So we had to look at how other people sort of came over these challenges, and no one had done exactly what we wanted, so we had to take elements from each bit that we'd learned and put it together to try and make this happen.
I see. Cool, cool. Now, what are we exactly looking at the screen? There is a lot of chaos, but gameplay-wise, what should we expect from the game?
So it starts off, as you can see, it all starts off as like a fresh environment, like a brand new environment, and by the end of the level, we wanted it to give a sense of destruction. Like, I mean, it's in the title. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And of course, we have lots of different level ideas. Like the next one we were going to start working on was a graveyard level, and we hope to have had a good four levels done by the end of it. Because obviously we were meant to showcase an EGX originally and stuff like that. We were intending to have four couch co-op game levels ready for that, but having to work it all from the ground up, we were only able to implement the factory level. But so the next level that we've kind of got built, sort of, was a graveyard level. So in that one, there'll be zombies walking around and whatnot, and you have to fight off the zombies, collect the body parts of all the zombies, and place them into the correct crypts and stuff like that. As you're also fighting the other enemy players at the same time, over the same items, essentially.
So there is even an aspect of PvE in this, like, very much player-orientated game, which I think is interesting. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's kind of what we wanted to hit. We wanted to try and hit multiple audiences by doing that. As I mentioned previously, like I don't really play single player games. I like going around fighting people, bettering them basically, and then Joe and Jack and Ross, they just like single player games, couch co-op games, like fun, friendly games. So we wanted to try and make it to fit both of our
interests as close as possible. So obviously it means that more people can have fun with the same game, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you go about it as a team? What was the sort of connecting point for you?
There was a lot of planning. So there was a lot of planning before we actually settled on an idea, because we jumped from different idea to different idea until eventually both of our ideas, we compromised enough about what we liked about the games to put them together to make this final product.
Yeah.
So where we kind of wanted a game more similar to Overcooked, where it was 4 different people working together to do a complete goal, Conor was more of the mindset of, well, maybe a game similar to Gang Beasts, where you're all fighting each other for, to be the best. So we tried to work out, well, okay, maybe we could do a game where you have to do tasks. Obviously, in this one, for example, they're trying to put the boxes in the correct coloured lorries. And we thought, well, maybe we could do it so that's competitive, and have it so the players have to fight each other to get the points.
So it's more than just getting rid of other players, but you also have this mini game with putting things into
the correct place.
Into the correct place, yeah.
And like Conor said, with the zombie level, there was also going to be, you'd be fighting each other still to collect points, but then you'd also have the environment attacking you as well to give it a bit more of a challenge and a more of a unique feel. It meant that we could keep developing levels with a similar formula, so it wouldn't take too much more work for the coding, but obviously we'd have something unique and different, so it would feel like a completely different game every new level we had.
I see. That's cool. The game is looking extremely engaging, and how did you go about sort of deciding on what camera angle to use and how to make the game have plenty of chaos in it, but to the point where player sort of knows where they are?
So it was just a lot of testing, honestly.
Right.
We tried out so many different camera angles, and like when I first designed the levels and stuff like that, the levels were too big. you couldn't really see the player, couldn't really see the items and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of trying to make it work. Essentially, it was just testing and testing, redesigning things until we found the perfect size and fit. The camera, we literally changed it over and over and over again until eventually we settled on the one that we've got now. But yeah, so every single element of the game we designed around simplicity, and the reason we did this is so that we can produce levels quick and efficiently without losing any of the sharpness to the game. Essentially, that's why we the low poly art style and stuff like that, is because it gives me a chance to quickly make assets, and because I'm the only one that does the 3D modeling and stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, essentially all the art. So like to quickly produce. That I just did it low poly because it gives me time to be able to develop lots of levels, lots of assets, and make it feel full.
I see. I highly recommend everyone trying this game out. And just a tip from myself: when you are playing the game, beware of the forklift that drives through. I find that feature really fun because it adds the dynamic of randomness into the level.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea?
So it's just something that we just talked about. We just wanted to add something that was going to come through and just wreck everything, essentially. Like, we've had a plan for, we call it like the Dragon's Lair one. So you'll be stealing the gold from the dragon, and if you wake up the dragon will go around and it'll smash all the pillars up and stuff like that, and it'll smash the environment up.
Okay. Just delete the level.
yeah, essentially. Yeah, so like with every single level that we design, we want it to start off like a normal environment, and then eventually at the end of the round, want it to be completely destroyed and give it that sense of destruction.
I see. That's cool. That's awesome. Right. Now, from less about the game, more about the team. Since you enrolled onto Transfuser and decided to take part in ProtoPlay, did you have to, as a team, make any drastic changes, or did you stick to the scope? How did the planning of that go?
So team-wise, we just kept everything exactly the same. So we had myself on level design and the art and stuff like that. Then Joe and Ross were doing all the programming. So we had Ross on the environmental programming, and then Joe and everything else. And then we had Jack, who did the music. So Jack did the music, the marketing, and a lot of the 2D work that we needed done, pre-programming and stuff like that. But like, so a lot of like the video editing and logo, etc., etc. But we didn't get anyone else in or anything like that. We kind of kept to the same thing. As I mentioned previously, the scope changed a little bit of like we wanted to get like 4 levels done, ready for the end of Transfuser, but yeah, plans changed in that aspect. But I've already talked about that.
Yeah. Do you think it has worked out better for you to focus on just that one level rather than trying to push the other few that you planned?
Yeah, I would say so personally. This level feels so much more polished in comparison to the other one. I think that it runs a lot better, and it just fits what we want more. Yeah, I'm glad we did it this way. Even though it was a bit of a pain restarting constantly, it was definitely worth it in the long run. Definitely.
I see. Good. It's great to hear. Awesome. I mean, you did really great. Let me just tell you that about to execute this project, because there is obviously a lot of elements that, even though you went for that, like you said, simple to quickly iterate graphics, you still have a lot of gameplay and level design to solidify to make the gameplay fun and readable, right?
Yeah.
Just people have questions in the chat. If you get points for hunting the players, could you touch on the scoring system and how do you win in this brawl?
Yeah. So with the game initially, we had it so you'd have points for doing absolutely everything in the game. So if you interacted with the environment, you'd get like an insignificant amount of points. If you damaged players, you'd get a fair amount. And then if you did something like knock a player out or complete an objective like throwing a box into the container, you'd get the most points possible. And it took quite a lot of testing from the beginning of the project, even in its early stages, to try and get a fair balance of allowing players to either pick completely PvE style, completely PvP, or a mix of the both. So we decided that if you're doing damage but then someone else comes and gets the knockout instead of you, you should at least be able to earn some points for working towards that, rather than being punished for not being able to finish what you've been setting out to do.
Yeah, some assist, right?
Yeah, so like we originally we had like quite small scores going between players, like I'd say like 1 to 10 points for certain tasks, but we thought it'd be easier to make it more like a percentage, and then we could roughly weigh about what points should be worth based on what task you're doing, or how long you've been doing the task for, or how long it should take to recover from the task, and so on. And it boiled down to what it is today. Like, the players can look at the score anytime they want, but for the most part it's hidden away behind the menu. So like how we set out to do from the start of the game, we want it to be uncertain until the end, where anybody could win at any point.
I see.
Yeah, and I love Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you actually take inspiration from that, or are you just comparing now?
Yeah, just comparing.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Could you actually touch on a bit on the UI, because obviously you did keep everything clean off the screen, just left the small triangles over the heads of the players so they know who's who. But was it an easy decision, or did you have to think about what UI to include? Because like you said, you wanted to keep the scores secret, but have you considered actually putting them on screen, or no?
Well, as part of my role, as part of a research role I had to do for university, I actually touched on looking at the UI and seeing what would clutter the screen up too much. I did a questionnaire and got people to test the game, and the majority of people said like the less UI elements on the screen, the better it would be. They thought it might be a good idea to incorporate like the health into like the little triangle above the player's head, if that was possible. And they said the scoreboard was better off tucked away where it can't be seen at all times, because the game's so chaotic, it'd just be more mess to the screen that would make it harder to play if there was extra elements on there.
Yeah.
Which is also how we came across the problem of trying to find players when they were tucked away behind items and so on. So what we did was assign them the same color as the triangle above their head. So when they go behind objects, as you can see the blue player down the bottom left, they're still outlined when they're hidden behind objects. So you can still see them, but it's very simple. It's like a clean way of showing where the players are at all times.
Is it possible for a player to be knocked out of the game and for the entirety of the rest of the round not be able to play, or is there a system in place to keep the player engaged during the entire round?
Because the game times are so short, the player is they always respawn, or if they fall out the map, they'll start back at the top again. But they should always be able to get back up and carry on playing.
I see. Awesome. Very nice. Yeah.
The one thing I was going to say about the level design and stuff like that is that we tried to implement a lot of like Easter eggs and gags to the game. So like we wanted it so that everything was interactable, essentially, to try and add. So everything in there is in there for a reason, if that makes sense. That like there isn't just like a random box that doesn't do anything. It might get destroyed. It might be able to like destructible and stuff like that. Or like cabinets, the doors will open and stuff like that. And even though it's like little things, it was just a way of making the environment feel full. So like, you can see the two screens in the background of the gameplay. That's like you can see the cameras on the wall. That's actually like a live feed from the cameras, so you can see all the descriptions going around in the background and stuff like that. So it's just like little things to make it feel more alive, essentially.
How do the cameras pick their targets, let's say? Do they look at the players who scored the most so far, or is it just anyone close by?
It's the ones that are close by to it, and then if no one's close by, it just it rotates from side to side.
I see. Okay, that's a nice small thing to have in the level. Really cool to see. I'm gonna go back to the being part of Transfuser and enrolling onto ProtoPlay, and I wanted to ask you about the aspect of the community once you enrolled onto it. How was it like to maybe get some feedback, and did any of that perhaps help you develop your game in a better way?
Yeah, I mean, we kept in touch with people that are also enrolled from our university and stuff like that as well. So that was great. And then the ProtoPlay people and all the staff and stuff have been great with help and stuff like that. If we ever needed it, really quick at responding, and it was really good. As exactly what we expected, essentially.
That's awesome, wonderful. You spoke about the target audience at the very start, and I mean, anyone who plays Gang Beasts or likes PvP, like you perhaps, or the rest of your team who are more of a couch play people, would be definitely looking to play this game. But is there any other target market you would like to reach with it, or is it just open for anyone?
So we kind of based it on children to young adults. That's why that you can't see like any blood or anything in the game. We wanted it so we could reach out to as many people as possible. Like every single element of the game, we designed around trying to get the maximum target audience, the maximum amount of audience that we can. But yeah, so we'd say children to young adults is our main target. Like the stupidity in the game and stuff like that, we think that was best suited to that sort of age group.
I see. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for answering that. What about the player feedback itself? Have you had much testing happening? How's that for you?
So the player feedback, obviously, you can't feel half it because we have implemented like vibrational things and stuff like that as well. But the player feedback was something that was quite difficult at first. So just letting people know where the items were and stuff, because like mentioned previously, all the destruction and stuff like that, sometimes the weapons would get mixed up with all the rubble and stuff like that. So we've been it's something that is still under development at the moment, but we tried to do it as best as we could in the time frame that we had essentially at the moment. But it is something that is still currently under development.
Yeah. I mean, I think you did great. I see a lot of glow around the weapons, if those are the weapons, so I guess that's a way of clarifying that players can pick them up and use them.
Yeah, so the only thing... sorry. The only thing you can interact with in the environment are the things that glow up. So obviously the pieces of rubble don't glow because obviously they're just everywhere in the world. And it just mixes into the background to show it's all destructive and everything. But as you can see, like the boxes glow with their different colors to make it easier for them to stand out. And then the weapons that anyone can pick up just glow with a generic white glow.
I see. Cool.
We also implemented a feature that has like a force feedback which pushes the rubble away from the weapons so they're easier to find as well.
Oh, I see. That's very smart, yeah. That definitely further clarifies it and prevents the rubble from totally just covering it up, you know?
Yeah, because we found that issue quite a lot, you know, earlier in the stage of development. It was where once we actually implemented that, it made it so much easier to find them and understand, you know, that there were things in the environment we could use against each other.
I see. Cool. What's your favorite part of the game when you're actually playing it? You know, as a player and a developer, what do you find most fun about your game?
Knocking people out. Yeah, definitely. Or we can Kobe the box, so you can chuck the box into the containers and stuff like that, and that's it's kind of hard to pull off actually, but obviously we play tested it so many times that make it look kind of easy, but I quite enjoy that. It's something fun about it.
I see. Awesome.
But definitely the fighting for me. Definitely.
I'd say the amount of like chaos and destruction there is.
So
like,
just enjoying what's on the
screen. It just wipes out the players. Yeah, exactly. It's it can be a really good laugh when you're trying to, you know, chase a friend down or something, and all of a sudden you get knocked out by the forklift and you're flying around the map. Yeah.
No, the forklift is brilliant. Personally, it's my favorite part of this level is the forklift. It comes and it goes, and whatever is in its way, it goes as well. It's
yeah.
You know,
if you fall off the platform at the top as well and you go into the fan, you just get hit straight into the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like the silly mechanics in that sense.
Yeah. It's actually in this footage. If we get to it again, it actually shows one of the players going into the fan and then just going all over the place. Pretty sure the ragdoll gets stretched out to be as long as the entire level at some point when it's in there. Yeah, no, it's a really fun game, certainly. A bit about the design of the characters, because I saw one of your team members answer about that you're planning to add more skins here and there, would those be accessible to the player at first once they start the game up, or are they going to be unlockable?
So they're going to be unlockable. So we are planning on implementing a currency system into the game. So depending on where you come in the leaderboards, that you do accumulate points over time, and you'll be able to go to the locker in the main menu. So we got a playable main menu, and if you go to the locker there, you'll be able to purchase them from there and stuff like that. It's not just that though. We've also got different things. So we're planning on adding like achievements, and then once you I don't know. If you knock like 100 people out, you'll get like a brawling suit or something like that. But it was kind of something that we put at the back for now. It is intended to be implemented, but we needed to focus on the main core elements of the game to actually show the game off first before we start thinking about the costumes intently. On each level, the main menu, this level, and the graveyard level and stuff, and everything else that we do, there is an actual Easter egg, like a physical Easter egg, and if you're able to collect all of them, you will gain an unlockable costume and stuff like that as well. So we wanted stuff to be hidden within the game, because that is one thing that we do enjoy about video games, Easter eggs and stuff like that, and actually getting rewarded for finding these little things in the game.
Yeah. Now it's almost like a reward from the developer to the player that they took their time to do some extra exploration or watching the level design more carefully, right? Our interview is coming to a close soon, but I got just one more question for you. Actually, two. First one is, how can players access the multiplayer? Can you touch on that a bit so everyone knows how it works if they decide to download the game? Yeah.
Essentially, as long as they have a Steam account and they're logged into Steam, they'll be able to access a menu within the game on the it's the clock-in machine next to the vendor machine in the locker. Once they interact with that, if there's someone else in the game as well, either hosting a menu or on their own, they can either invite them or they can join their friends. Or using the Steam overlay, they can invite their friends from there also. It basically, all you need is a Steam account to connect.
There you go, there you have it. So, are we gonna be seeing it on Steam? So, just overall, last question, just tell me about the Ambition post-transfuser, and then tell us when can we expect the game.
So we expect it another year's worth of work, because we all have jobs alongside this as well. So it's not something we can primarily focus on, because we have to earn money from somewhere else as well. So, but we're thinking about another year or so. Now that we've got the core online elements down, it's going to be a lot quicker and for us to get levels down, created and stuff like that. But as mentioned previously, we intend to get a load of levels out, a load of costumes and stuff like that. And because we've designed it around this simplistic element, we're able to do that quickly and efficiently. But yeah, if we think at least another year to be able to get everything that we want, because we don't want to give the community like half the game. We want a nice full game that people enjoy, and there's a lot to do, lots of layers and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
We don't. So yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay. Anything else you would like to touch on, and any shoutouts? Go ahead. I have put in the command. Yeah. Exclamation mark for anyone who's new to the stream. Exclamation mark and the team name will give you the list of socials for that team, where you can find out more about their game and follow the team as well. So yeah, go ahead.
So we've got a couple of shout-outs. Our university for one, and Richard Hebblewhite for helping us the whole way through. He's been there throughout our entirety of the project and mentoring us and helping us. Rory as well for going with us throughout the whole transfuser process. He's been great and a helpful guy to have on the team. And just everyone that's played tested it, all our friends from university, and just everyone in general, essentially. Everyone that's had an aspect of the game. I even got my parents to play it at one point, because of we didn't have anyone to play test it. So
there you go. That's some very, very important player feedback right there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Your game is looking really fun, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing about it and seeing it release.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Take care. So that was Joe and Conor from Roksalt team, and yeah, their game is looking really fun. Our next team up is gonna be Grim Titan Studios, of course. I saw one of their developers, Greg. I saw you in the chat. You've been very active. Looking forward to the chat. But before that, we're gonna take a 3-minute break, and then we're gonna be right back. So stay tuned.